All right, man. You ready to talk about love today, JB?
Yeah, man, let's get it, bro.
Let's do. Oh shit! What did I just do? What's going on, y'all? Welcome to another episode of the InnerChild Podcast, where we have authentic conversations about childhood growth and passions. Today, we talking about a special topic. But before I get to that, I'm OD. It's my boy JB. Around the time this EP is gonna drop, it is gonna be Valentine's Day. So I guess in cliche format, we are gonna name this episode the love episode.
Right on.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So JB
Yeah,
is
man,
the
talk to
one.
me.
JB is the one that actually wanted to talk about it. Like, like when he brought this whole thing up to me, I was like, okay. I was a little on the fence. I didn't know if this was something that I would want to do per se. Because, you know me, I keep shit very personal.
For sure,
With
for
the
sure.
people that I have in my life, I talk about it to the homies. I talk about it to the homegirls, family. But other than that, I like to keep things in my circle. But, I mean, look, if you are going to be vulnerable, you're going to be open, you want to have a conversation about love, then why not, right? And I know we tried to get some guests on.
For sure.
I wanted to kind of like have different perspectives come in, maybe professional perspectives, therapists, coaches, so on and so forth. And it didn't happen, but I mean, I think me and you, we seasoned enough.
We good. We rocking us two today, man.
To have a conversation, man. So what's up? Talk to me, man. Why you wanted to talk about love today, man?
Yeah, man. Nah, I think it's just an interesting topic. I think in this day and age, we're in the digital social media age, so there's a lot of, I feel like, perceptions out there of what relationships should look like. Whether it's obviously two people as a couple, or whether it's even family and friends, right? And just want to discuss some of the things that I've personally experienced, I've felt, through my relationship now, my current relationship with my girlfriend, or even previous relationships, and just like, dealings with family. So, me, I talked about this last year, something that I wanted to do. So I'm looking forward to the conversation.
Yeah, no, for sure. And in this conversation, we'll be talking about a whole lot of stuff, right? Our definition of love, what the childhood experience of love looked like, how did love evolve for us through our relationships, right? And a whole bunch of other stuff. And obviously, like, Valentine's Day, man,
Of
right?
course.
It's a very special occasion. This is, a holiday where, women for sure get pampered with a lot of love. Rightfully so, right? Because we love our women.
Of course.
But for you, man, when you hear the word Valentine's Day, man, what does that do for you?
Yeah. I think ever since I was younger, my mom would just shower me, my brother with love, regardless. I remember elementary school, she would send us off with a little treat, and a note. You know what I'm saying? And I think that was definitely impactful. But to me, I think that's just a day that gets the attention. A dedicated day. But when you are in a relationship, or even, like I said, family, like, that love isn't just for that one day. That's universal. That's like all the time. You know what I'm saying? But Valentine's Day is a very special day, very intimate. You know what I mean? So yeah.
When it comes to Valentine's Day, in terms of my childhood experiences, my parents weren't like super big celebrators of Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
My dad would probably stop by Walgreens, get the moms a box of chocolates and some roses, do the same thing for me and my sister.
Mhm.
He's the man of the house, so he always wanted to make sure people were taken care of. Did the same thing for my grandma. Obviously, you go to school, you get the candy. When I thought about Valentine's Day for me personally, like when I was a kid, it's just all about candy. Like buying a bunch of candy, the sweethearts, the nerds, all the candies with the hearts on it, and just pretty much having a sweet tooth. So, I guess like over time, right, being an adult, understanding what Valentine's Day is, and being in relationships in the past and stuff like that, you just see it as an opportunity to highlight your girl, make your girl, but make your girl feel special.
100%.
Right? Obviously, that's not something that you're supposed to stop doing. It goes on and it goes on and it goes on and on, because love is endless. But in the same retrospect, it's just an opportunity to highlight a woman's femininity, right?
Mm-hmm.
And make them feel special. So, I mean, why not? It is propaganda, right? It's propaganda. It's
Yeah.
propaganda, but in the same retrospect, I mean, you find yourself in a good situation. It's a good conversation, and it's a good occasion to celebrate, man.
Facts. What would you say, like, to staying on the the Valentine's
Yeah.
Day? We think of love, right? So what would you say your definition of love is, and how has that changed based on like experiences that you had? What relationships or even family, right? So
I mean, it's love has a lot of love has a lot of different avenues you can go into.
100%.
I think when you think about men and how they see love,
Mm-hmm.
right? Men look at respect as love,
Yeah.
right? Like if I have a family member who respects me for being who I am, if I have a girl that respects me for being who I am, and she's not violating my boundaries, she's not putting me in these tough situations, like she's not creating, turmoil or stuff like that, right? Makes respects my masculine and respects who I am as a person. Like I think that's how a lot of men look at love, right? And obviously, like, somebody loves you when they're willing to do things for you.
Yep.
You love somebody when you're willing to do things for them and sacrifice and make strides for them that you wouldn't necessarily
100%.
make for other people, right?
Yeah.
And not to say like you don't love other
Of
people,
course.
but that's how love is viewed for me. As a child, love was obviously like a very constant thing, right? I came from like a very loving family, both on my mom and my dad's side. Like it was nothing like you knew they love you because they always gave you really good energy.
Yeah.
They always really positive. My dad's side of the family, I used to hang out with his cousin, which he calls his brother. Who I still call my uncle, basically Uncle Soil. I remember just going to his house and feeling loved, and him always just shooting me a couple dollars here and there.
Yeah.
But it's not just my dad's side of the family; it's also my mom's side of the family. Like my mom's side of the family, all live here in New York, right? But the ones that I always got the chance to see when I even visit or when they used to come into town, like it was just nothing but love, hugs, kisses, nothing but embracement and just making you feel seen and making you feel very special, right? And
Yeah.
Love is a lot of things. It's really hard to answer that question.
100%.
If I can start somewhere, I think for me, when I look at love, I look at somebody having like true respect and admiration for you as a person, and not like not undermining that aspect of who you are.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point. I think that's bigger than just a couple in a sense. I can even take that same lens to whether we have friends or mutual friends or even just acquaintances. And for example, they show love by supporting our podcast, right? Like they have that mutual respect for us. But I think my definition or how I see it is when one person kind of makes sure they go out their way or tries to go that extra mile for you, like they give you that intentional effort, like putting it, for me, I think that effort is really big. So whether that's giving you effort with energy, effort with time, and just overall like hearing me out as a person. I think that's a big thing for me, because if you don't have effort and you don't put effort into, me as a person, then I don't know. That's like a deal breaker, regardless of any type of relationship. So yeah, but I feel like you can spend love so many ways, for real.
Yeah, you can spend it a whole bunch of different ways, man. So as far as the whole V-Day topic goes, you think that's something that everybody should celebrate? Like you think it's just a couples thing, or?
Nah. I don't think it's a couples thing. I think, like you said in the intro, it definitely, the propaganda is just for couples, but I love when I see like homegirls get together and like celebrate each other, celebrate that friendship, that bond that you have. Mothers and their daughters, or dads celebrating with the day with their daughter, stuff like that. I love. I don't think it's just for couples. Guys,
I was just about to say.
That's how I feel. That's how I feel.
I said single niggas cannot be celebrating Valentine's Day. What are you doing as a single man celebrating Valentine's Day with another single? I don't see that happen unless y'all want to, like, on V-Day, go to a bar or something on a singles night.
Yeah.
And try to meet some singles, because it's gonna be women out there.
Of course. Yeah.
I don't know what retrospect women do Galentines. Like what would a guy do?
I don't know.
A Valentine? Like what? That's not happening, bro. That's not. Fellas, listen, if you single, don't celebrate Valentine's Day amongst your men's. Show love to your people.
Your moms, your grandmas.
Show love to your female friends, Show love to who you want to.
Yeah.
Right? But not to your other brothers, bro.
But loving yourself, making sure you take some time for yourself.
Yeah.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
To do at least. Making sure you tapped into your inner self. And just assess you as a person too, if anything else.
That's constant though. Like,
of course,
it shouldn't be just a February 14th thing. Like, you should take time for yourself almost every week, almost every month. You should always find a way to just take care of who you are. Practice on, just being the best version of yourself, treating yourself. Me, I get facials twice a year. You feel me? I don't play about that shit. You feel me? And on top of facials, like, bro, my self-maintenance haircut.
Yeah.
I get deep tissue massages, every now and then, because I'm always working out and I need to loosen up.
Big gains.
Like, yeah, bro, I'm always taking care of myself. You know what I'm saying? So Valentine's Day shouldn't be just a day that, like, if you're single, you're celebrating yourself or you're taking the time to pamper yourself. Maybe you do it, yeah, cool, but that's something you gotta continue doing throughout the year.
No, that's real. What's that one song that, like, describes love for you? Like, that's your go-to song, man. Like, you just feel it in the song.
Love by Music Soul Child.
Okay.
Love by Music Soul Child. That for sure has to be like a song that I walk to.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like when I'm coming out, when when it's my time to get married, like that for sure. Yeah, when that how the men come out.
Yeah.
I gotta come out with that in my, double breast suit, you know what I'm saying? Made the man.
This man got already planned out.
Yeah, you feel me? Double vent in the back, double breast, white tux look. I'm good. Like, but I need
you gonna look like LeBron on draft day.
Yeah. Nah. LeBron's wearing two. I would never.
Yeah.
I would never. But yeah, if I could think of a song, it would for sure be Love by Music Soul Child, man. That's the one for me.
Okay.
I listen to it all the time too.
Okay.
Because I listen to a lot of R&B anyways. How about you?
I say I'll go All of Me, John Legend. I think,
okay,
kind of what I touched on earlier, like, I'm giving my all to you, you're giving your all to me, no pun intended, but just the impact of that song and, like, the words and like what he's saying, I think that really just hits home. So I'll go All of Me, John Legend. Yeah.
Nah, that's dope. John Legend got some good hits, man. But check me out. So, like, growing up, right, was unconditional love something that, like, you feel like was displayed in your house?
1,000%.
Okay.
1,000%. I say, growing up, seeing the way that my dad cared for my mom was big, and even his mom as well. No matter what it was, my dad made sure that he put my mom first as a priority. Not to say like he put her over us or anything like that. I'm just saying above anything else. And even how my parents treated us, like my mom, my dad traveled a lot for work, but my mom was just always there for us, right? And that unconditional love of her being at all of our practices, all of our games, everything is relates to after school activities. Right. Making sure we got to work out once we got to high school, making sure she took us to driver's ed, like everything you could possibly think of, like that time and effort and energy that she put in, it was done without like questioning or second guessing herself or, I'm gonna put you guys before me, to where, she's doing stuff now in 2025 that she probably wasn't able to do, back when we were growing up, because she took the time to take care of us. And I really appreciate that. And there's so many things that I could thank her for, but even my dad too. My dad definitely showed us unconditional love, also tough love as well. But at the same time, it was all flowing through the house. Like it wasn't even a question. How about you?
Yeah, nah, for sure. Like, definitely a little bit of the same. My parents were the two kind of people that kind of worked really hard together to kind of make sure that the kids were okay.
Mm-hmm.
Kids had everything they
Yep.
needed. Like, they worked their ass off and they gave everything that they possibly could have given into, and poured into us to kind of make sure that we understood that they loved us and stuff like that. Caribbeans do things in a different way. So, it's not a knock on the Caribbean culture, but sometimes, that tough love, sometimes it's hard to, as a child, to recognize it as love, but you grow up and you start to realize how much they love you. Like, my mom, she talks about this all the time. And you never really know the strength of, a woman's love for the kids and stuff
Mm.
like that until you grow up and you have your own kids and you see what that kid's mother is doing. But like I just remember, like, my mom would wake me and my sister up early in the morning, right? And then get us ready for school, make sure we're all good to go, do my sister's hair, so on and so forth. And then she would catch one bus to take my sister to school. We'd go up, and then she'd catch the next bus going down to take me to school. And then after she would catch the next bus going down to take me to school, she would then catch the next bus for her to go to work. And then she would come back around when she's done with work, pick me up, catch the bus down to pick me up, and then catch the bus up to pick up my sister.
Yeah.
Go back down to go back home. So my mom, ideally throughout the day, because my dad worked so early and stuff like that, was the one to always like have to travel.
Yeah.
6 buses, you know what I'm saying? 6 buses. If you're from Miami, you know what a jitney is. It's like $1. It's like $1 cab compared to what this in New York is, right? It's $1 cab compared to, it's a New York's dollar cab.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
Yeah, so yeah, my mom. So when I think about unconditional love, a lot of it too, on top of like obviously having that physical and imposing love, like it's the real effort, right? And all that effort, it's extremely unconditional. Like my mom would literally go through like hell. That's hell, bro. Like keep it a stack. You're not driving. You know what I'm saying? And you waking up super early to make sure you take your kids to school so you can make it to work on time, do all the time that you need to do at work to go pick up one kid, then go pick up the next kid, and then go back home. You feel me? And then still cook.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like when I think about love, like I always used to get the hugs and kisses and stuff like that, but my mom really was like showing real unconditional love. And then my father too, like, he wasn't always the like, I love you kind of guy, but you knew my dad loved you because all he wanted to do was come home and crack jokes with his kids.
Yeah.
You feel me? Like all he wanted to do was laugh with his kids. All he wanted to do was just crack jokes with his wife. All he wanted to do was just be a fun nigga. You know what I'm saying? And that's what my dad was. My dad was like, you feel me? The energy of the house. Like, you know what I'm saying? Come through, laugh and stuff like that. So, to even talk about love, I in how I grew up in childhood, I got to start off with, my parents' effort, because that
100%.
effort alone and the actions that I saw them put together to kind of raise me and my sister, that's big love.
Man, that's so real, because it's when you just sit back and reflect, like just hearing you say that, it's like, dang, like, parents who care will do anything to make sure that you are good and have anything you need, even if they don't even know how to do it. They'll figure it out. They'll just make it happen regardless. And that is to me, that's a true testament to love, right? Mom, like you said, your mom, six buses just to get to a final destination. You feel me?
Yeah.
And I think mothers especially have such a nurturing nature that they want to make sure that their kids are good. And I think that's a prime example of that. So.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like, I want to ask you this question, right? Do you feel like because your mother was so loving, it's giving you like a real ability to be as loving to women? You know what I'm saying? Like, cause not just my mama was a very loving person, right? Like my mama used to always call me Juju and Old Juju. Like that was my name. And when you knew she did that, like you knew she was just trying to love on me and make sure she knew that I loved her and stuff like that. But like the same thing like existed throughout all the women in my family. It was nothing but hugs and kisses. Oh
Mm-hmm.
my baby, look at you. Like it was just nothing but love. And then growing up now to be like the young man that I am, like, I'm very kind and I'm very
Yeah.
like soft and I'm very like, still very disciplined with people and women in general. But like, like I know how to just be very like comfortable in giving love to women. So like, do you feel like you got that same experience?
1000%. I mean, I think I'm a naturally loving guy,
Yeah.
in general, but how my mom poured so much into me and like that nurturing and nurturing perspective, like that is me. So
Yeah.
whether it's in my relationship with or just homegirls or people that I don't even know, I'm gonna still be kind. I'm still gonna be like loving in some capacity to the other person, regardless. So as it relates specifically to women, I mean, yeah, no doubt about it. I'm a respectful, you know what I mean? I take value into having conversations with other women, homegirls, girlfriend, and making sure that I'm attentive. Because that's another thing that my mom was. She always listened to what we had to say before she even came to a conclusion or judgment on anything. And I think that's just as important in the whole loving process. So 1000%. And I think that her energy of love and how she was to me, to my brother and I, it flows right through me, no doubt about it. And then even also staying on the respect factor, like just seeing how my dad respected my mom or my aunts, what have you, right? That's the same how I am. Like it's always, I don't care how old you are. If you're older than me, it's yes, ma'am. You know what I'm saying? Just as a respect factor,
Yeah.
and like non-negotiable. Like, and here in New York, they be taking it as like, oh, don't call me that. I'm only this age, but down south, you say yes, ma'am, no, ma'am,
Yeah, like
as
yes,
respect.
ma'am, no sir. Like
Yeah.
I'm being very polite. I'm not
Yeah,
trying to disrespect you.
exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So just seeing how respectful he was, making sure I hold the door for a lady, open the door out the car, all that. No matter what, if I'm on the train and you see a woman standing up, you offer her the seat. That's just
Yeah.
what I saw. So yeah, 100%. That goes for both of my parents.
Is there any habits I think like on how like your parents loved on each other, how you saw family love on each other that you try to carry over into like your new day age, you being this young adult, being in a relationship? Any habits you could think you saw growing up that you try to?
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing that my dad always told me and my brother, and I want to say this is the habit. This is just something that he said that it took me a little bit to understand. But he said, when you get older, I want you to marry someone just like your mother. And he just will leave it at that. And, it took me some years to really figure out what that really meant. At first I was thinking just, well, somebody that looks good or what have you. But in my current relationship now, I definitely see what he means. Somebody who is very kind, somebody who is willing to go the extra mile to put me sometimes before themselves, making sure that, they're very loving, they're very caring. And those are all the things and intangible assets that my girlfriend now gives to me, right? So basically my dad's telling me that, for years on end. And it took me, however long to really understand what that meant. But I can confidently say that, him saying that and then me being able to go back and look at the relationship that he's had with my mom for 30 plus years, I've been able to say, okay, these are all the things that I see that my mom is for my dad and how, they're able to coexist and, be in a partnership for this long. It really just speaks value to, who my mom is as a woman, which I respect. And so all those same qualities and characteristics that my mom has, I believe that Ma has.
My mom has a lot of great loving
Mm-hmm.
characteristics, and same thing with my dad. So I think I try to be as loving and soft because I get that from my mom and her
Mm-hmm.
her side, but I also try to be very stern because
Mm-hmm.
I get that from like my dad.
Yeah,
Uh,
same.
I get that from my dad, because my dad was a very like amusing person, like but then again, like he not fuck around, right? And in the house, there's no disrespect going on.
Yeah, of
So
course.
I definitely always try to like pull from both of those areas
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to me being in my relationship. But growing up, I would say this: I never really had like the conversation of love with my dad, or I never had the conversation of love with my mom. It was never like, oh, when you get a girl, they need to do this, or you should expect this, or these are like the qualities that you need to like weave out in a woman.
Yes,
The
yeah.
person I actually get it from is my uncle.
Okay.
My uncle always is the one to talk to me about like his past experiences, and
Mhm.
before he was married, and his trial and errors with dealing with women that what the pros and cons that came from dealing with those women,
Mhm.
right? Like, there sometimes he had women, and I'm sorry, Uncle P. Sometimes he had women that would probably crash out, and then he didn't like that kind of disrespect. You know what I'm saying? Or sometimes he would have women that were like not good communicators, and
Yeah.
like were shut down kind of people, and just have very bad energy, and they didn't really know how to communicate their feelings, and he always, ever since I was a kid, used to always tell me, look, don't ever settle down for a woman who's gonna disrespect you.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, don't go ahead and settle for a woman who's gonna do petty shit, who's gonna say petty shit, who's gonna like just have bad energy all the time. Like, so he's always been the one to kind of like steer me in the direction of like, and it's always been good things. It's like, listen, man, get you somebody that y'all could sit down when y'all have problems and communicate. One thing that he told me that he used to do in his past relationships is that he used to like, if he was going through a rough patch with his partner, he would just put like some music on softly, some Ordinary People John Legend in the background, and then he would just sit down and tell his, past partners, let's sit down, let's talk. You know what I'm saying? And then that was a way for him to calm the mood down. You know what I'm
I like
saying?
that.
So for him, I learned those things through him. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Which is why, like, if I'm in a relationship and somebody's disrespecting me, it does rattle me, right? Now, I'm not perfect. I know I might do shit that's not the greatest, right? Because nobody's perfect. But in the same retrospect, like I said, like, it was really my uncle that was showing me like the ropes of how to actually conduct yourself as a young man and what to weave out when it comes to finding a lady.
And I need to ask this before I actually ask the question, but did you get kind of like all this game and knowledge from your uncle prior to your dad passing, or just like after?
Oh yeah. Like prior to my
Okay.
So my uncle's always been in my life.
Okay, yeah, no, I just wanted, so the question was going to be, your uncle's giving you this game, right, about, his personal experiences. So did you ever go back to your dad and say, hey, dad, like, I got this advice from Unc.
Yeah.
What do you think? Or, I tried this, but give me some game. Or was it not really like that with your pops?
Nah, like me and my dad and my parents, we never really had like a conversation about relationships, know? And especially growing up in the Caribbean culture, I feel like that's a very scary thing to talk about. And that's actually a good question that you asked me. And you just tapped in somewhere that I wasn't even thinking for to talk about. But like in the Caribbean culture, it's like not really like a thing where parents are comfortable talking to their kids about finding partners, especially like their young kids. Like they don't want you to date. Like, and I'm gonna say this, love you, Nashley, who's my sister. But I remember when my sister was like 16 and they found out like she had a boyfriend. Oh my God. Like my parents fucking died, bro. Like it was like a whole week. My dad was mad at me.
Yeah.
My dad was like, she was with this guy. You never said anything. How dare you? And I used to be like, bruh, why the fuck would I tell you?
Yeah.
Like, but that's like in the Caribbean culture, like I don't think it happens too often, especially in very traditional Caribbean cultures. Like parents are talking about like love, and they're talking about what you should weave out when you find a partner. It's always go to school, go to church, get a good job, make good money, and it's never about find a good husband. This is the qualities that you need to look for, or find a good wife. This is the qualities that you need to weave out when you're finding a good wife. So I never got that in my parents. But like I said, my family, my parents, like they always displayed love in the version that they could have displayed it. And I always understood it. But it was my uncle that was always helping me understand love, not just from a relationship standpoint, but even as like a teenage kid, having issues with my mom, having issues with my dad, and then my uncle like telling me, hey, look, I know it doesn't look good, but they're doing this because they love you. They're yelling at you because they love you.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing that because they love you.
Yeah.
It might not be the most like television version of
Yeah.
love,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
doing this because they love you. So like
Man.
my like talking about, like I said, my mom and and my dad, my uncle, like second dad to me. He's still a
Man.
mentor to me in this day, and he talks about just how to conduct yourself as a loving person all the time. And I will say he is very consistent with the conversation that he has. He's very consistent with who he is too. Like he is a very loving man.
Yeah.
He is a very kind individual. He is a very consistent and disciplined and respectful guy. Everybody looks at them that way. Everybody cherishes him that way. So thank you, Uncle P. I love you. Because that's he's always been that guy for real.
Yeah, you touched on a very important thing in your relationship with Uncle P, is having somebody who's older than you with some wisdom and game that you can go to for these things to talk about, relationship advice or how to just carry yourself in a certain situation.
Yeah.
And I think that's very important because sometimes, obviously we can look to our friends, and there's nothing wrong with going to our friends or people who are in our same age range because, we're all going through similar things in some capacity together. But, there's nothing like having that wisdom from an elder who can give it to you straight because they've been there before. And I think that's just like a good life tool in general.
Yeah, for sure. And also too, it's like not just the conversation of love, but life lessons are not only gonna come from your parents, bro.
Yeah,
like,
100%.
They're gonna come for a multitude of people that exist in your life, and you just gotta be willing to listen and respect it. And to be honest, I'm grateful it came from my uncle and not my mom and my dad, because I probably wouldn't have listened.
One ear out the other.
Not even. It would have stopped at one ear and then never got through my head.
Yeah.
I'm grateful that it was my uncle to teach me some of these things, because I don't know if I would have received it the same if it was my parents. If my parents said, I just would have been like, oh, okay, whatever.
I mean, and going to that point, when you look back, was there anything that you misunderstood about love that now it's like, okay, this makes sense? Whether it was something that your uncle said or something that you got from mom or pops?
I mean, definitely like the whole tough love aspect.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because, on top of my parents being very, like, loving and, trying parents, like, they were very tough, right?
Yeah.
And like I said, they come from a very traditional Caribbean background, very, like, old school Haitian background and stuff like that, where, I didn't have the parents that came to my basketball games. I didn't have the parents that wanted to fund me playing sports. I didn't have the parents that gave me a hard time for like coming home from practice late.
Yeah, you
like, you know
about
what
that.
I'm saying? Like, I didn't have the parents that were just like, I'm gonna come to all your games. I'm gonna come support you. You want to play AAU? Here's a bunch of money. Like, I didn't have those parents. And growing up as a kid, I used to think that my parents didn't love me enough because of the lack of support that I got there. But like I said, it's my uncle that always grounded me and was just like, bro, like, they're old school Haitians. They don't know any better. Like, and not only that, they don't know any better. Even though they don't know any better, they're doing better than what they were raised. You know what I'm saying? And that's another topic too, because my mom was not raised in like the greatest situation. My father lost his mom very early, and it was his dad that raised him, and he grew up with his dads, which are his uncles, and his cousins lived in the same house with him with his brothers and his sisters. So like, my dad did not have a mother's love, because he lost his mom very early in his childhood. You know what I'm saying? So, my parents, although sometimes I felt like they wasn't giving me the love that I felt like I wanted as a kid, they still tried very hard and gave me the best that they could give, better than they even got.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's something I'm always grateful for. And, growing up today, I understand it. You know what I'm saying? Because, not having a certain life lesson being taught to you, it does affect you, and it speaks volumes to who you are when you can do better than what you than what you don't know, or better than what was given to you. You know what I'm saying? So
Facts.
that's really it for me.
Yeah, no, I think that tough love is something that was big for me. I think my dad was definitely tough on my brother and I, but it was just at the end of the day trying to make us be great.
Yeah.
Right. And that still goes to this day. He's always pushing me to, do better in this category, do better in this aspect, whether it's work, school, health. He's always challenging me, spiritually, getting closer to God, always doing that. And that's he's been the same way since I was young. And there was definitely a period of time, I'd say like post college, where I was just like, oh man, same old, same old. But after like sitting down and reflecting, I needed that, and that was good for me. That's something I genuinely didn't understand. I'd come home with like a 3.89 GPA or something. Oh, why is it a 4.0? You know what I mean? I hit home. I go 2 for 3, 3 for 4 in the baseball game. You could have had an extra stolen base. You know what I mean? It just.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you can, as no matter I think his main thing is you're doing good, you're doing great. But how can you improve, regardless of if you had a bad day or you had a good day? How can you continuously improve? How can you continuously improve? And I think that's something I didn't really understand when I was younger, and even over it's really just kind of full circle hit me over the last year and a half or so, to where it's like, all the extra, pushings, all the extra lessons, all the extra teachings from my dad wasn't out of, him just being a,
right,
annoying individual or what have you, but it was out of love, and that's something I can genuinely respect, because I see him and he's continuing to still elevate and always perfect his craft and everything that he does, and so he just pushes me to do the same, and that's the way he shows his love, by making sure that we have all the tools necessary to get to where we want to be at. We, as in me and my brother. So yeah.
No, and that's real. Like I think it's a great thing when you have parents that always like teach you lessons of adversity.
Facts.
You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Me per se, I saw lessons of adversity through my parents just grinding to make sure that we was good.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Grinding to make sure that there's food on the table, grinding to make sure that the bills were paid, grinding to make sure that the kids had everything that they needed. You know what I'm saying? Like I see my parents grind. So through that, I kind of understood what adversity looked like and how hard you got to work and what decisions you need to make and not make to kind of be the best version of yourself. Like I saw that through my parents and the efforts that they made. You know what I'm saying? But then sometimes too, like you got the situations where your dad be like, okay, and then what?
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What you gonna do when this happens?
Yeah.
Like,
yep.
But that's all good life lessons. And like I said, everybody got a different way of building up that whole idea of love. It's just basically, it's just basically how you shape it. You know what I'm saying? Now, I did want to ask you, because you talked about things your dad would say when it comes to like finding a woman, but like, are there any traditions that you saw exist in the crib that you want to bring over to this current stage in your life, and I don't know, moving forward within your love life?
Yeah. My parents used to always go on walks in the morning. I love that. So, they get up, they go walking, they meditate, they reflect. I don't know really what they talked about, but I just know they get up and go on a walk. Obviously, one, to stay healthy, but two, just to have conversation in the morning. So I love that. I'd say also, my parents got married and then had me and my brother. So I think that's gonna happen for me, non-negotiable. Like I want to get married and then have kids. But yeah, other than just a strong, loving household is really, I could say, what the tradition is, in the sense of, my dad never, yelled at my mom, talked down to her, always treated her with respect, kindness, and vice versa on my mom's end. So that's what I say.
Yeah. That's real. For me, when I think about traditions, I don't know if my parents passed on any crazy tradition, but like, I think my parents passed on some really respectful habits that I didn't realize a lot of people don't like actually have those habits. And this is where I get a little personal, like, growing up. And this is a very African American thing. I think I think it still happens. I think a lot of people still do this, but then again, like there's things that like, to my knowledge, I didn't realize people don't do it, right? When you walk in the house, you greet somebody. Like, I'm big on coming in the house and giving my mom a kiss, giving my grandma a kiss, saying hi to my sister, giving her a hug and a kiss. My dad, same thing, give my dad a kiss. Even right now, like when I see my uncle, like walk in, kiss, auntie, kiss. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Go through, say what's up to my little cousin.
Yeah.
Like I do that because that's what I was taught. Like, you don't come into the crib
without
and you don't
acknowledging.
greet people.
Yep.
I'm even like that professionally. Like if I'm working with you, I come through, I say my rounds. I say hi
Facts.
I say hi to everybody. You know what I'm saying?
You step into a room, it's non-negotiable.
I mean, and especially when you think about the idea of you coexisting in the same space with somebody,
Facts.
you coming in from the outside, you coming in from work, you coming in from grinding, being outside, shopping, don't matter. Like you coming in from outside, you know, you was just out. Come in and have that just establishment of acknowledging your partner, acknowledging your spouse, acknowledging your roommate. Like, and this is like I said, where I get personal. Like, you feel me? I had that problem with my ex where like my ex would come into the crib and my ex don't know how to say hi. Or like I come into the house, I try to say hi to my exes, get off me. And I used to, and then like in the back of my head, I used to be like, damn, like you. And I'm not trying to, you know, I'm not trying to shun nobody, right? Because people don't grow up understanding how impactful those mannerisms are, like those basic home etiquettes are. Like, yeah, like, bro, like that's what I grew up, and that's a tradition that's still very real to me. It seems like the smallest thing, but like I said, I'm so big on respect that it's just like, how could I walk into some establishment and then I just acknowledge the people that
100%.
you know I have around me, the people that I see every day, the people that are in my life. Like, I would think that's a problem if I'm coming in somewhere and I'm not greeting somebody. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Facts.
I've never been that person. So like, you know, like, yeah, like growing up, that's something I want to carry. And being that, like I said, like I was in a situation where like I basically had to, you know, kick, yell, and scratch just to get it. You know what I'm saying? And not to say it didn't get better, it did. But like, yeah, like that was a tradition that I didn't realize was very necessary until I was in a situation that I didn't, like, I had to like tell somebody like, yo, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We talk about growth, right?
Yep.
You know, you said you're in a, not to say you said you're in a relationship.
Yep, 100%.
Right? How, not just that relationship, but how has past relationships like helped you grow personally?
Yeah. So I'll start with the past before I go to present. So I'd say, you know, I've only had two girlfriends,
Yeah,
like
me
legit
too.
girlfriends.
I've only been in 2 relationships. And
I'm not gonna, and I'll preface like the answer by saying like I'm not gonna speak on, you know, my issues that I maybe have with that other person, because honestly, that's, if I'm gonna say that, like I'd rather have that person there to like talk that out. But what I'd say is, on my end, if I solely look at myself and, you know, my role in that my last relationship, I'd say simply, you know, there was times where I was maybe too short. I was quick on just being like, all right, like it is what it is, like whatever, forget it. And just not really having a certain level of patience, right? I think that was one big thing on my end, or just trying to just be quick and rush certain things. And not, I don't want to say with temper, but just having like a just whatever type mentality. And I don't think that was really fair to that my ex in that last relationship. But I think, you know, now present day, I definitely have worked on communication way more, being patient, and just learning how, okay, if I say this, you know, this is going to get a reaction. So I might need to approach a conversation with like you said, with your uncle. You know, he turns on some music and he has a calm conversation. So if I know that something's been bothering the both of us, I'm not going to bring it up in that moment to where it's going to be heated.
Yeah.
I've learned to, okay, maybe let a day go by and bring it up, you know, when we're both on good terms and everything is good, right? And so I bring the conversation up and we have a nice, clean discussion back and forth of, okay, I didn't like how you said this, or I didn't like your approach here. And so that communication factor is big. And I feel like that's a really big area of how I grown, you know, as a person through my relationship. So yeah. How about you?
Yeah.
And it could be anything, you know, with family too, what have you.
Yeah, like I mean, I like the fact that you just said it could be anything with family, because I feel like certain things I've been through with my family
Yeah,
ends
yeah.
up happening in my relationships.
Uh-huh.
And I'm not gonna talk about what my partner, like what my ex does or what my past partners have done, but
Yeah, for
like
sure.
I talk about me per se. Like growing up, you know, if I find myself in a position where like I feel disrespected and I get pissed off,
Mhm.
I would probably start popping off. Like, you know what I'm saying? Not
Yeah.
to say like I would become a crash out and start fucking shit up, but you know, like I would definitely be the one to be like, yo, like don't play with me. Like watch your mouth when you talking to me. Like, you know, like I'd be like, yo, don't play. Like, you know, I'm
Yeah.
I'm really big on respect. You know what I'm saying? So like whenever I feel like somebody's testing my respect or somebody's like pushing my boundaries, well, in the past, right? One thing I used to do a lot is like it used to get me really upset, and it would turn into an argument in that moment because
Mhm.
I'm very like big on like not having it be a thing where I'm allowing somebody to talk to me a certain way that I just don't like,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And I feel like in my past relationships, the moment somebody used to disrespect me or the moment somebody used to talk to me in a certain way I didn't like,
You go
I
off.
used to just be like, "Who the hell you think you're talking to?"
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right? And then that attitude used to, I wouldn't say it would turn into anger, but it would turn into an argument, right?
Mhm.
Because now emotions are high. I'm pissed off because you disrespecting me. You pissed off about something. Now we're not communicating properly because we're yelling at each other, right? And I think over time, what I'm really starting to learn is that like I need to be better with discernment. You know what I'm saying? I need to pick and choose battles. I cannot just be popping off at the mouth. Like I'm still very like big on not playing with people, right? And not having people play with me, but in the same breath, like, you know, you got it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I'm saying? And then just shutting up for a second, because silence speaks volumes.
Mhm.
And it's not to say that I'm shutting down, but I'm just like, you know what? You got it. You gonna be disrespectful? I'm not gonna be disrespectful.
Mhm.
I'm not gonna be petty. I'm not gonna be a jackass. Because I'm a guy and I know how that could look.
Yeah.
I'm not, you feel me? I'm not gonna have nobody call me sassy. Like, I'm not finna be, well, not that anybody ever has called me sassy, but like, you got it.
Yeah.
I'm not finna pop off. You wanna disrespect me and be on 10? All right, cool. I'ma just shut it down on you. And when you realize I'm not being emotionally available,
Emotionally available, yeah.
then you'll know you did something to me that I didn't like, and then we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So like,
yeah.
I've learned there's power in picking and choosing your battles.
And I also say,
Yeah.
especially to the emotionally unavailable part, I mean, especially a guy like yourself who has a lot of energy,
Yeah.
you know. So if you just go mute, you know, your partner or whoever else in whatever scenario, they gotta recognize, okay, so I said something wrong,
Yeah.
or he's feeling some type of way. Let me figure out how to address it. So that's a fact. I mean, I think another thing I'd add too is tone. So I wouldn't say I'm necessarily a smart ass, which I can be sometimes,
Yeah.
but I've definitely learned. And this is something that I can't lie, it's something that I'm still working on. This is something that my dad's told me about, my mom's told me about, is my tone and it's not about what I say, it's how I say it. So I will admit that is something that is a ongoing, growing thing. And similar to what you said, you know, assessing the situation at hand, woosai, this. But sometimes, you know, we have that human element nature where you just gotta say it. And I'm not saying I'm aggressive. It's just, again, the tone in which you know you have a response to said person. So
It's a trial and error. I'm not saying I'm perfect and shit, but now it's just like, yeah, now I'm definitely in the space where it's just like, I know better. Like, I'm not finna be sitting here arguing because I know that's not gonna get me or you anywhere. And if I'm trying to make a point and I'm trying to make sure you understand there's boundaries here, like I can't do what you're doing to me, because then I'm not gonna, you know, I'm not gonna show my true value. I'm not gonna show what I actually am trying to tell you, right? And you know, like I said, I've been going to church more. You know, I've been very intentional about my relationship with God, and you know, no disrespect, but Jesus killed him with kindness. You know what I'm saying? I'm not comparing myself to God, Jesus, nobody. But
yeah,
I'm saying, like, you know, they mistreated Jesus. You know, they did what they did to him, and through all that, like he was just like, yeah, I don't retaliate. It's okay. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it's just like if an example of, a man such as Jesus could, learn how to weather the storm, even though they was like stoning him and mistreating him, and just that means all people should be able to have that level of kindness, and be that level of rationale, even when things aren't working, going their way, whether it's like relationships or professional work. You should still be able to be like, okay, cool, it's fine, like
Yeah.
it's fine, because one day you'll get it. One day you'll get it through my actions. You'll learn how to actually manage me better. So that's one thing like I've grown through. Let me ask you though, have you ever been in situations or within your past or current where like the women you've been with put you up on game about shit, and then you like start to pick up those habits and start doing those things for yourself?
And give me an example of.
Okay, so I give you one for sure. Like, and this is for me, right? Me being big on self-care is because my past partners have taught me how to be better with self-care. Like my past partners have taught me good facial routines. My past partners have taught me, it's okay to go get massages. It's okay to get facials. My past partners have taught me, like how to have proper hygiene. And not to say I was a dirty nigga. Like, I'm not saying that at all. I was always clean. You feel me? I was always clean, always took care of myself, never dirty. But like, the extra things and making sure that you can have a skin routine, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Making sure that you have like a real routine when you wake up, go to bed, shit like that. Like my past, and I take that into my life, whether I'm with them or not. Like, I start following those same routines. Like, they put me on game about stuff like that.
Yeah, no, good. Okay, gotcha. So I think previously my past relationship, one, I think my ex taught me, the intentionality of being close with your family. She was very super close with her family, and I respect that. Comes from a great family, all great people. So being intentional, like when I was with her and around them, I saw like that loving care in the family dynamic and the family aspect. And then same present day with right? Like, comes from a very loving family, has 12 other siblings. Nah, I'm just playing. She only got 4. She only got 3 other siblings. It's a joke. But yeah, nah, great family. Yeah. Mom, dad, both present. And so I say that to say that I've tried to make it a point to make sure that I call my mom more, even though we're, apart. I talk to my dad more. The relationship with my brother over the last 2 years, if I don't go like a day, if I go a day without talking to my brother, something just seems like it's off, right? So I make it a point that we talk, we communicate in some form or fashion. So that's definitely a big aspect that I've learned from both of my relationships, is from a family standpoint.
Let me ask you, that relationship with your brother, has it always been something where y'all talk?
No.
Okay.
So growing up, me and my brother were always just very competitive, no matter what it was. Ping pong, basketball, swimming. It doesn't really matter. We're just competitive.
Brothers.
And we're 2 years apart. So, we're together all of elementary school. We're playing on all the same sports teams. And then middle school, obviously, I'm in 8th grade. He's in 6th grade. So, friends and stuff like that is already different. We go to the same high school. I'm already established. I'm a junior. He's a freshman. So, everyone knows him as, oh, that's Josh's brother type deal. He's making his own way. Honestly, it wasn't really until the end of his college, which means I'm already graduated, to where, because I could go like a week without really talking to him, which is kind of crazy, before. But, it wasn't until about around the time he graduated, which was a year and a half ago from college, to where, we're texting, we're communicating, we're talking every day, and we're just having, honest conversations about, childhood and things of, what our upbringing was like, how, why mom and dad said this or why they did that. So all that to say, it really just grew over the last year and a half, maybe 2 years. And I can definitely credit that to, learning game from, both my previous relationship and my current one, and how they were with their siblings.
Yeah. And I only pivoted there because, you just mentioned something about your brother.
100%.
I never had like a competitive situation with my sister, but my sister's like always been killing it. Like, my sister always been the one that went to the magnet school. She always been the one to like have the superb grade. My grades was great, but my sister had greater grades. Like, she was kick ass in school. Like, she was always the one that like always like, do the right things. You know what I'm saying? Even to this day, like kicking ass at her job. Every day she calls me with a promotion. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So like
yeah.
my sister always has been like an example of grinding and getting it and working hard and being ambitious and like actually like becoming what you want to become, right? So like I've never had a situation where like it was competitive with my sister. I just always want to make sure that like I do it well.
Yeah.
Cause I know, like, you know, she's my big sister. I look up to her too.
100%, yeah.
So it's just like I'm doing well. So like I want to make sure like I'm no low life brother. Like, you know what I'm saying? I want to make sure she could say her little brother is doing very well for himself too. So, you know, when I look at my sister and she's grinding and shit like that, like she's motivation for me. So like I've never looked at it as a competition. I've never.
Yeah, I mean, and just to go back on it is, you know, I definitely am I am the older brother, right? And so I definitely set the standard, but even though my brother is younger, I still learn from him.
Yeah.
Like he has a very much entrepreneurial go-getter mentality with
your brother
everything.
Kick ass.
No, he does.
Man went to school overseas.
Yeah, no,
abroad,
like he does, like if he sets his mind to something, he does it. And that's something that I learned from him. And I love him for that because it doesn't matter who he talks to. People who had X amount of experience in years, like if he sees something that he thinks he can do, he's going to attempt to try to do it, whether he succeeds or fails. And that's something that I definitely picked up from him, especially over these last 2 years with a lot of his endeavors.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, obviously, I don't know your brother, but when you talk about him, I could tell he's somebody that got his own mind, does his own thing.
Yeah.
Not only that, like he's doing it at a very well pace because, like, you know, you didn't study abroad. We went to school together, you know, in the States, right? 2 hours from where you were born. My boy said, "Effing, I'm finna go to Colombia." Like, you know, you know what I'm saying? So, like, you know, that's bad respect. And obviously, like, you know, definitely hats off to him because he's doing this thing. He's doing this thing. I wanted to move over to this social media.
Yes, definitely. 100%.
Right? Because it's, oh my God, man. Let me just ask the question.
Yep.
How do you think social media has affected the views on love and relationships?
Man, I think it's a great question because I think it's definitely impacted how people carry themselves all throughout relationships. I think social media and like reality TV to it as well is like a facade. Like, oh, you have to be, you know, the man has to provide all this, whatever. But one specific example is that I'll never like between 2018 to like 2022 when I'm in school, right? It was almost this thing of you can't really showcase who like you're dating. Like you have to hide who you're dating. So, and this is me personally, how I feel because I'm a lover boy at the end of the day, right? And that same like, oh, you can't showcase who you're dating or you don't want to be seen with said person, right? Like that was a big thing. I felt like from what I just saw on social media. And I think that when I'm looking back and reflect on my past relationship, like I probably wasn't more as out there of, you know, showcasing, you know, this is my girlfriend or just even PDA, right? Or like being out in public. And I look back and say, man, that was really lame because if I could do it over again, I would have been on the quad having dates in the middle of campus. No, I'm being dead serious, like because that's who I am. I would have had dates in the middle of the quad. I would have been out there, like, cause who cares? Cause you go back and look at pictures, you know, back in the day of our parents, you know, grandparents, or you know, just people, OG FAMU, if you will. That's what that's what they used to do, right? And so that's something for me that I wish I wasn't, you know, trying to be so secretive, exclusive. And I'm not saying that you have to put all your business out there. That's not what I'm saying at all, right? Just throwing everything on social media. But what I am saying is, you know, if you love somebody, don't be afraid to show it, right? And I think that's something that I've learned over time to now with I don't care. Like, this is my girlfriend. I don't care. I love her. I love you, man. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I think that's one thing that social media definitely, you know, has influenced in a negative light, I'd say.
I respect that outlook. Me, per se, I've always been very private with, you know.
And that's completely fine.
Yeah, no, I've always been private with posting my relationships, not because I'm trying to hide my girl, but because it's my personal business. 100%. And I think when you're in a relationship, that's the most intimate and delicate and important and pristine thing to you, bro. Like, that person has your heart. You feel me? That person has your heart. And, you know, like, that's mine, bro. Like
Yeah.
that's not something I want to be so open about. Like, and I'm the same way with my personal life too, bro. It's
Mhm.
like you not gonna catch me posting myself watching a football game at the crib. You're not gonna see
Yeah,
me.
yeah. I don't like.
You're not gonna see me posting myself laying in my bed just having conversations with myself, or like
Yeah.
you're not gonna see that from me, because when I'm at the crib, I'm at the crib. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
When I'm
yeah.
with my partner, I'm with my partner. Those things are very personal to me. So not to say I keep them off the internet, but you're not gonna get it from me 9 times out of 10. If I post it genuinely, it's because either one, I wanted to make the person feel special, or I was posting it just to post it because it's cool to pop it every now and then. But it's not one of them things where I do it consistently, because I feel like it's so private. I don't need to be putting that out there because it's very interpersonal to me. Now, what does bother me
Mhm.
is when people make a problem out of it. Like, oh,
Out
you
of
not
yeah.
like,
Nah,
you're not posting me, you don't love me, you don't mess with me, you don't make me feel seen, da 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 da. Cause now it started to make me be like, okay, so like, what's your prerogative here?
Yeah.
You just want everybody to know that, you know, like what you just trying to be seen, you trying to be a show off now. Like, what's
Yeah.
the prerogative here? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, nowadays, me and you can't go on a goddamn date
Yeah.
and then just have a great time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Now if I don't pull my phone out, take a selfie and post it, it's a problem with you
Yeah,
now.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I done spend all this money on a goddamn tomahawk steak. You feel me? We done ordered the appetizer and all this shit. And what you telling me now, all of that's going miss because I didn't post it?
Honestly, what I think it is too is unwritten rules that there are when it like that social media has
Yeah.
like made, right? So another prime example, what I tweeted about this a few weeks back is liking a story is not a crime. There is no difference between
Liking a pic,
and a story. That's the point of the app. Like I think there's just so many unwritten rules of social media that's like been infused into people's minds. That's like, oh, like this is.
I've been following all these people, all these men, all these girls, and all of a sudden I get into a relationship, I gotta stop liking pictures.
Yeah.
Like, damn, what happens if I like posting shit and I want people to interact with mines? When they realize I'm not in, and you know how the algorithm is. When the algorithm realizes that you're not on these people platforms, you're not engaging with their posts, they stop showing you those people stuff. And then not only that, they stop showing your stuff to those people. So now it's just like, all right, now I got a dry Instagram. It's just like, and I don't want a dry Instagram, right? But when it comes to like that whole conversation of like love on social media, I feel like so many people be getting so trapped into the glitz and the glam.
100%.
Like,
yeah.
they get so trapped into the glitz and the glam. They
Yeah.
see the flute outs. They see the roses all over the place. They see the Chanel bags and the Hermes and, all the Goyards on the table for Valentine's Day. And they think it's constant and it's consistent, right? And specifically, I think the women see that, and sometimes they feel like that's something that they need to have every day. Like, it needs to be just bliss and love, and I just need to be just so in love every day. And it's not like that. Like, it takes a long time to get to learn somebody. Like, we're gonna have great days, but there's gonna be times where we have bad days, bro. And it's not gonna be pretty. It's not gonna be romantic all the time. Like, yes, romance should still be a big thing that exists in relationships, but it's not one of those things that it's not gonna be like that every day. Like, you gotta learn to work with your partner. You gotta learn to have real conversations. Shit gonna be ugly sometimes, bro. I remember J. Cole said this like in the interview that he did a couple years back, when he was talking about how, like, he got married and then he realized, like, damn, there's sometimes I don't fuck with my wife, like, and then he had to learn how to re-love. They got to learn how to do this and like learn how to be better communicators again, because it's a never-ending cycle. And I think sometimes you get on social media and then people see like all like the sparkle stuff and they think that's what it needs to look like all the time.
Facts. Completely agree. And we got that sign to wrap, but I wish we could touch on that subject more, because that warrants a larger discussion and a further discussion. But from everything that we talked about, right? If you could write a letter to your younger self about love, how you want to be loved, how you want to give love to whether your family members, friends, significant others, partners, what have you, what would you write to a young OD?
It sounds vague, but it would just literally be like, it would be 2 words: love everybody.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, love everybody, bro. Like, learn to just be okay showing love.
Yeah.
Learn to be okay with, giving people flowers. Learn to be okay with being soft with your women. Like,
Yep.
learn to be okay to create a soft space for your women. Learn to be okay to hug your mama. Learn to be okay. Like, love everybody, bro. Like, shit, love your coworkers, love your colleagues, love the people that you work with in whatever space you belong, bro. Like, love everybody, bro. Like, it's just so much bullshit going on in the world. A lot of negativity, a lot of like bad energy. It's just it's crazy that people not showing all the love that they could. So it's just like, yeah, just love everybody. I'm just that simple. Like, love everybody.
That's real.
Yeah. How about you?
Man, I'd say be kind, be caring, be compassionate. Be kind, be caring, be compassionate, and be willing to listen to others and reciprocate good energy. That's what I'd say to my younger self. To me, that's important. I think that goes into how I want to be loved and me pouring out to others as well.
One sentence. What's one sentence you could say to describe what love is?
Man, that's a big one. But I'll go with love is an emotional connection, respect that one has for someone else or a group of people that is done no matter what. Like it's non-negotiable.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, you can have tough love in there, but having respect, care, kindness, compassion, like I just said. So I know that wasn't one sentence, but yeah.
Yeah. One sentence I would say about how I describe love. Love is valuing yourself well enough to know that you can give that same value back to people.
Clip it. Yep.
I think it's that simple because love starts from within.
For sure.
You love yourself. You do the right things. You treat yourself well. You're kind to yourself. You're gracious. It builds confidence. It builds the right energy. It builds positivity around you. And then you could then go ahead and give that back to the world. Get that back to people. Get that back to your partners. Get that back to your mama. Get that back to your dad, your brother, your sister, cousin, uncle, aunts, everybody, right? Yeah, it's just valuing yourself enough to give it to others.
I like that.
Man.
That's real. I like that.
That's real?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. We could have kept going. This should have been like a 2-hour episode because we skipped a lot of stuff.
Nah, we definitely did, but
we got to wrap up. That's how it is.
I'd be remiss to say to everybody out there, happy Valentine's Day.
Right. Happy Valentine's Day.
Do something with a significant other, family member, friend, what have you. Ladies, have a Galentine's. Everything what OD said earlier, man. But yeah, and love you.
That's cute. Yeah, happy Valentine's Day to everybody out there, man. Especially, the women and everybody who likes to celebrate the holiday, man. Just make sure not only you loving on the other person, but most importantly, you just loving on yourself, man.
Facts.
That's really Valentine's Day, right? Let's make this a positive holiday. Let's keep it going. It's propaganda, but it's also a really good occasion for us to, treat ourselves and other people very well. So, and a lot of people need that. You need that. So happy Valentine's Day. Love yourself, man. But good episode, man. We talked about a lot of shit,
Facts.
right? We talked about childhood. We hit the social media aspect, like how we grew up viewing love, what we do in our current or past situations better when it comes to that whole love conversation. So it was cool, man.
Definitely.
It was cool for sure, man.
Definitely.
But look, y'all, that's going to wrap it up here for another episode of the InnerChild Podcast. Be sure to follow us on all our platforms at official InnerChild. We're available on Spotify, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. We're still trying to get the Apple podcast thing going. We're also on RSS feed too. So rock with us. We're everywhere, man. I'm OD. That's JB. Till next time, never forget to embrace your inner child. Love episode. Peace out, man.